throughout heaven and earth. I alone am the honored one.
Not quite my tempo.
The great miracle born from this world. The one who can later become a great king. The life that should be despised above all. The first-class singularity. King Sinbad!
Sinbad, where do I even begin? Don't get me wrong, I love Satoru Gojo, easily one of my favorite new gen characters, but there's really levels when it comes to this glazed character archetype. Like when Satoru Gojo was born, the balance of the world was said to have changed. The forces of evil in their universe started to get stronger simply because of his existence. But Sinbad, when he was born, the concept of fate itself had to adjust to him. These godlike beings called Magis sensed his birth the moment it happened.
The head is out. It won't be much longer.
It's coming from the north. Something possessing an incredible power has entered the world.
This feeling. There's something on the horizon.
How interesting. For a human to be born with such amazing potential. Why, it only happens once a millennia. It's a miracle.
Just to put it into perspective, imagine when Luffy was born, it cuts over to every top tier in the verse. I'm talking Kaido, Whitebeard, Akainu, and even Imu, talking about some, yes, it seems like he has arrived. What do you mean he has arrived? You're 10,000 miles away, how could you possibly perceive his birth? Anyways, let me calm down with the glaze. I love Magi, and I hate how they refuse to continue the show. I pray one day they just pick it back up, man. Like, imagine Magi season 3 with Jujutsu Kaisen levels of animation. That would really make me fall. You've seen the title of the video. I'm covering Magi Adventures of Sinbad, which is the prequel of Magi following our GOAT Sinbad's origin story. I am planning on covering the entirety of Magi, so stick around for the journey. Anyways, let's cut the yapping and get straight into the meat and potatoes. Like I mentioned earlier, it started with Sinbad's mother giving birth and everyone in the verse being physically aware of the event. His birth had kids looking up in the sky with pure joy, pure hope. I'm not gonna lie, between Satoru Gojo, Sinbad, and Yujiro Hanma, I really don't know who's more glazed in their own show. It cuts over to Sinbad's dad Badr, and it seems like his country is at war. These generals pull up giving him a bunch of gold for his efforts during the war, but he says he isn't worthy of it. Badr is worried about the future of his country, Partavia, because it's rapidly started to grow and the territory is slowly reaching the same level as the Rem Empire. He goes out to sea to catch some fish, and we see a young Sinbad who snuck onto the ship. One thing I love about this show is how they sometimes change the animation style into like this chibi form. It makes for a bunch of funny scenes, especially with Aladdin in the later seasons. They end up getting stuck in a pretty bad storm, but that's when Sinbad climbs on his father's shoulders and tells him which direction to go, as they actually make it out safely. Even Badr is perplexed. This is the equivalent to taking your son to a football field and watching him control the ball and wrap it into the top corner at 3 years old. Project Mbappe is officially in full effect. Badr believes Sinbad will have the capabilities to change the world and lead their country into prosperity. That's when it cuts over to a bunch of brown shirts pressing Badr for not supporting or fighting in the war anymore. And I don't know what they want from him. He has one leg, which he lost at the start of the war. It's not like he's draft dodging like all of us are gonna be doing if World War III starts. He actually gave it a solid attempt. Turns out Partavia's ego got a little bit too big, so they tried to run the ones with the Rem Empire, who basically buddied them. They end up jumping a disabled paraplegic war veteran in front of his son for not fighting in the war, which obviously has Sinbad upset. He's still convinced that his dad could have beat them if he fought back. He was trying to have his Zoro and Luffy versus Bellamy moment. Badr really gives me like these Force vibes. Like, I don't know how to explain it. They both have like a similar character. Wait, hold up. Is that Carly Yeager? She's really for the taverns, bruh. Anyways, fast forward and Sinbad finds this brolic man who claims to be a traveling merchant whose ship sank. Sinbad asks him why his hair is yellow, as he begins to explain that the world has a bunch of different places filled with all kinds of people. Sinbad seems to be really intrigued and extremely interested in Darius' stories from his voyages. The night passes and Darius gets ready to go when some foot soldiers knock on the door asking Ezra if she's seen someone suspicious, as they are looking for an enemy spy. But before they even have the chance to look inside, bro grabs this guy by the face like it's Barky and speed blitzes bro with a British greeting. Sinbad runs out just to see the nice man who was telling him amazing stories standing over 2 dead bodies. This is probably how that one lady felt when she saw Thorfinn on on the battlefield after taking care of him the night before. He grabs Sinbad using him as a hostage before he reveals that he's a secret spy of the Rem Empire and wants a boat so he can return to them. Ezra asks everyone for help, but they aren't trying to back the beef. But that's when Badr steps up, demanding his son back. I thought he was gonna ditch the cane and get active like Kairos from One Piece, but nah, he prostrates and sincerely asks Darius to give him his son back and betray the Rem Empire to join the Batavian Empire instead. He says he got that Vegeta Saiyan pride and would never sell out his comrades, so Badr lunges in from the ground and stabs him in the gut, rescuing Sinbad. Man, I know this guy used to be a demon in his prime. The court rules that Badr was harboring a military spy and he's now forced to return to the battlefield, but not before getting tortured. People are cussing him out like he's pre-timeskip Naruto when Sinbad shouts back. That's when 16 grown adults are about to rush a 5-year-old child for speaking up for his dad. These Batavians are bogus as hell, bro. Badr stands up and tells them not to touch his son when he reveals all his battle scars and asks the villagers whether they themselves are even prepared to go to war, which is fair enough. Badr leaves his son with some final words: fight like a real man and take care of mom. As a few months later they receive news that Badr died on the battlefield with only his sword being retrieved. Man, shout out Badr, one of the realest anime dads out there. Put him in the anime dads hall of fame. 11 years go by and these weird things called dungeons start spawning in all over the world. They were said to have a bunch of valuable loot and items inside them, so both Rem and Batavia wanted to capture them. Long story short, they are basically Zelda dungeons. That's when we cut over to these bandits trying to rob this supply cart full of women and kids. But that's when an older Sinbad pulls up, Aura forming like Prime Piccolo, and tells them you don't got the facilities for that big man. He jumps from the top rope using Blackbeard as a launch pad before bouncing off Batista like Gran Torino. This is really how Zoro was moving against them bums in Baroque works. Strong right, Sonic spin, toe punch, straight into a double eye twister. Sinbad really out there just toying with them.
I was just out there trying shit, one leg off the wrong foot.
He buddies the thugs and asks why their party is traveling without a guard, when they explain that most capable men have been drafted and those who managed to dodge the draft had to become thieves to get by. Damn bro, we are really getting a glimpse into our, yes, me and you watching this video right now, our future. Sinbad says they should just hire him since he's looking to make some quick money. I know what kind of man you are, you can't fool me. They say they won't need any more protection, but they offer him some of their goods as a thank you when this femboy elf jumps out and hold on, Link? You should be trying to save Zelda right now, bruh. His name is Yunnan and he tags along with Sinbad because he said he'd be happy to let him get some rest at his place. It's almost like how Alibaba met Aladdin. We get to see that Sinbad took a lot of characteristics from his father and he still turned out to be a great human being despite not having much to spare. We get to see Ezra and she's very ill. Sinbad goes out the house when Ezra and Yunnan bond together. Ezra is very sad because she feels like she's burdening Sinbad by having him take care of her. She asks Yunnan to take care of Sinbad if he were to ever lose his way. Is this foreshadowing? I don't know, I'm genuinely asking because like this show, despite being peak, has refused to continue their damn anime. Rent a Girlfriend is on their 5th season, but Magi can't get a season 3. That's bull. I apologize for my outburst. I've seen what the Rent-A-Girlfriend author did to Degenerosity. He has not posted since dropping this video. Please don't do the same to me. I'm sorry. Whilst they are talking and someone runs in and says that Sinbad is in trouble, a commander of the army called Drago has captured Sinbad and tells him to stop ignoring the draft call-up. First Badr, then Sinbad, and now it will be me and you. How inspirational, bro. Sin says he's going to keep dodging the draft, so Drakon says that all further punishment will fall upon his mother if he continues to dodge. Damn, this guy is using the North Korea method. That can't be legal. He wants as many people to join him because he needs to conquer the dungeon so he can acquire that legendary power. Over 10,000 people have already gone into the dungeon and not a single person was able to capture it. This is the equivalent to trying to loot an ancient city with leather armor. He talks to Yunnan and tells him to go to the dungeon and become the new king of the country. Sinbad asks Yunnan who he is before he vanishes like Peter Pan. Sinbad ends up telling his mom what he's going to do and his mom gives him his dad's sword. They ready up and it seems like Sinbad is a no-show when he spawns above them and tells him that he's going to seize the power of the dungeon for himself and change the country. He runs into the bus arena and Yunnan is sitting there like with that one NPC in a video game who's somehow always in the right place at the right time. He starts the save file and tell me with a straight face this isn't exactly what it felt like spawning in that one cave in Elden Ring and laying your eyes on Limgrave for the first time. Look how majestic this scenery is, bruh. I love adventure anime so much. After admiring his surroundings, he instantly gets gets attacked by a Lord of the Rings eldritch being that then redirects his aggro towards the other soldiers who get turned into dragon food. Commander Drakon is the last one standing and Sinbad decides to help him out. He's a better man than me. This guy curb stomped him less than half an episode ago. They are fighting when Charybdis himself flies over the canyon. Drakon isn't trying to work with Sinbad, so he decides to do a solo boss run by sneaking past the dragon into the next arena, but he must have forgot rule number 1 of Souls games. The next area won't open until you defeat the first boss. Shenron charges up its special move, but Sinbad barely managed to save him. This guy's timbers are completely shivered and is even asking for Sinbad to end him. Sinbad tells him to lock in before giving him an Erwin Smith type speech. He grabs the shield and faces Placido Sachs head on and tell me this isn't tough. I know he posted this one on the gram talking about this ain't fairy tale but I really slay these dragons. Sinbad rides the water to give him some momentum, landing chip damage to the nape of the dragon. He takes high ground, coming down from the top rope with a critical hit to the forehead, successfully 2-tapping the creature. And look at the way bro is looking down on Drakon. This is how Naruto looked at Sasuke after holding off Orochimaru. They open the door to the next stage and Sinbad is hard carrying Drakon to the point that his own op started glazing him.
Sinbad, such a mysterious man. Outwardly, he appears to be a reckless fool, but really, he carefully analyzes each situation. And under any circumstance, he always makes the right choice. A man who rides the waves of fate.
They enter the loot room when Sinbad touches this magic lamp that transforms all the rusty items into gold as it takes physical form in front of them. He says he's the djinn named Baal and his design is so tough. This is the type of creatures Blue Lock characters been summoning in the recent chapters of the manga. Matter of fact, these are the stands they summon in Inazuma 11. He asks them who wishes to be king, so they both step up and say that they want his powers. They both refuse to back down, so you already know what time it is. Let the squabble commence. Sinbad steps in for the clash, but Drakon draws first blood. They continue to go sword for sword when Drakon disarms Sin and goes for the finishing blow. Sinbad grabs the sword with his bare hands before landing the nastiest left hook, sending Drakon wobbling. Got him hitting that Bobby Schmurder dance. He's on 2 HP and Sinbad is just unloading on bro.
Better scramble like an egg before you get folded like an omelet, nigga.
Ooh, that brother's floating in the air.
Hit him so hard he started having flashbacks of his fine shit back home. Turns out his brother was in an engaged marriage with his crush and there was nothing he could do about it. That's rough, buddy. He gets up one more time like Tyson Fury, but Sinbad ain't moved 1 millimeter by that speech and still lays him out cold. The djinn acknowledges Sinbad as his new master and sends him back to the spawn room with all the loot and his newly acquired powers. The army pulls up and congratulates Sinbad before telling him to hand over everything when Sinbad says that ain't happening. They try to arrest him when Yunnan pulls up and shows him how to wield his new powers. He summons Baal's lightning ability, taking out some of the troops before Yunnan sends him back home with his newly acquired riches. Absolute cinema. The townsfolk pull up on him and they ask him why he disappeared for 2 whole months, and this gotta be rage bait. What do you mean disappeared? Did you not see him get curb stomped? He was forced to go. Sin runs to his mother who is in an even worse condition. She draws her last breath as she passes away in Sinbad's hands. Damn bruh. Sinbad decided to leave the country when he runs into Drakon's sneaky link. She tries to attack him but Sinbad dodges and he uses Fire Force physics, I guess. He takes her as a hostage to get far enough from sea before he leaves her in a barrel sailing away. This man just casually kidnapped the princess of his own country, by the way. Sinbad is lost at sea when we see these blue-haired siblings get attacked by the Unagi. He attempts to take it down but is unable to land a fatal blow. That's when Sinbad steps in and uses Sasuke's Kirin to take the monster, saving them both. We cut over to Drakon and long story short, he's getting that Zuko treatment. This guy says he's disgraced the royal family and blah blah blah, but he has a chance at redemption if he captures the Avatar, I mean Sinbad, and brings back his metal vessel to the king. So now he's chasing Sinbad across the world. We see Sinbad talking to the siblings and he's actually a certified fiend. Sinbad will try to move anything that's even remotely attractive. We find out the girl's name is Piperika and her brother's name is Hina. Apparently he was supposed to catch this giant narwhal as like a coming of age ritual so he could be granted a new adult name. She tells Sinbad that they are from a country called Inchank. Outsiders aren't allowed, but Sinbad proclaims that he wants to visit every country possible. Me and Sinbad are really the same. We love traveling, we both have crazy aura, and we're draft dodgers. Like, come on bro, that's crazy. Fast forward and they pull up to their village, the land of the snow bunnies. I know a couple of you winter soldiers in the comments would love to spend some time here. The biome reminds you of like them frozen overworlds in New Super Mario Bros. DS. If you know, you know. Sinbad talks to the chief who says that a dungeon spawned in their village. Sinbad warns him that he shouldn't go when he explains that he's the boy that captured the first dungeon that took the souls of over 10,000 men, instantly gaining the village chief's respect. I can tell Hina is slightly upset. He probably feels like a fake demon since he wasn't even the one who took down the narwhal. While Sinbad is asleep, one of the assassins working with Drakon invaded the village in an attempt to slap him out, and long story short, he got hit with a 6 elixir lightning spell. Sinbad begins to interrogate him, and this might be the worst form of little broing I have ever seen in an anime. It reminds me of when Naruto was beating the brakes of Konohamaru.
That's it. I bet you're scared now.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy.
Sinbad is too funny, bruh. Discipline him like an immigrant parent. Sinbad isn't even mad, he just pities him for what he had to go through. He ends up breaking free and escaping with the rest of his crew. Hina has been feeling like a certified bum after running into a real demon like Sinbad, so decided to try and capture the dungeon for himself to try and gain some more strength. Sinbad decides to run after him as he spawns in a crystallized ice biome. Hina thinks everything is sweet just to almost get turned into a Jamaican beef patty by an actual level 1 butterfly mob. This is the equivalent to getting clipped by a Goomba, bro. Hina runs into a crystal, but this time he's actually putting in some work when Drakon and the assassins swoop in to steal the kill. They aren't even acknowledging him as they are also just trying to clear the dungeon for themselves. Damn, they giving this 6-foot Samoan the Kuroko treatment. Hina finally locks in and takes down 2 of them. I thought they were just like regular humans, but they genuinely transform into like Ornstein and Smo as they start giving him the JJK treatment. Just as it seemed like Hina was about to get turned into a Inchang tribe movement, Sinbad steps in like the god of thunder and stops everyone from squabbling. Sinbad tries to talk things out, but young Killua over here ain't trying to hear all that and ties him up before jumping around like Bellamy, and just like Bellamy, gets one tapped with 1 punch to the face. Hina tries to hold down the 2v1, so Sinbad tries using Chidori again just for Drakon to pull a Rio. Yo, let's not be rash, man. You can't be bringing a gun to a magic fight. That's against anime rules 101. No straps, no glocks, no blickies, no switches. Hina stands up and saves Sinbad, jumping into the water and escaping the threat. Drakon and his entourage enter the loot room and summon the Jinn when he asks who wants the king's power and what they will do with it. Drakon steps up and says that he wants it and says that he's going to use it to support the king of his country. The Jinn deadass told him that his reason for living is buns and he ain't trying to give his power to some random goon. Sin and Hina arrive to the dungeon when the Jinn proposes a challenge. The person who is able to catch the cat will be granted his power. They think it's easy pickings, not realizing it's the same cat from that one Naruto filler. They need to catch him before the time runs out, and if no one catches him, they'll all be forced to stay in the dungeon forever. After getting their ankles snatched, Sinbad proposes that they work together to make sure that they get out alive. He even agrees not to participate in catching it since he already has a Jinn, which convinced the others to work with the plan. They all surround it, but as they jump in, the cat jumps up and Sinbad steals the gold the same way Bar be stealing goals in Blue Lock. He's really a true egoist. Ego, sign him up. He proceeds to give another speech and explains that he wants the Jinn's power so that he can create his own country where everyone can work together and live peacefully. That was enough to move even his biggest haters into wanting to join his cause, and I'm not gonna lie, if I was standing down there whilst he was giving this speech, I would have became his #1 subordinate right there and then.
Man, it's an honor to be in bro presence, man. Bro, real nigga, real genuine, man. Nigga certified. Listen, man, on me, I'm the man guard. Nobody gonna play with bro in the city. Nobody in Texas, Florida, wherever we at, bro. Choice, bro, you solid in a bitch.
But before they can even give a concrete answer, the 3 assassins begin emanating this black aura. I knew they shouldn't have eaten them galaxy gas mystery balls. Them shits were laced with straight fence and compound V. Their rook starts collecting together, slowly forming into a creature. Drakon wants to use the Rick Grimes method and just shoot them in the head, but Sinbad steps in and decides to protect them. The black rook caused them to fuse into the apprentice of Shaitan. He instantly booms Sinbad before he spins back and takes its arm. He simply regrows it and also snatches Sinbad's metal vessel. The witch who set this all up spawns in when she reveals that she's been here on orders of Drakon's brother, who's planning on telling everyone that Drakon died in action whilst trying to arrest Sinbad. And he also says that he found out that Drakon had feelings for his wife. Damn, bro. I don't know what to say. Man, I fell down to my knees in a dungeon. The Minotaur is about to squash him when Hina saves him just to get grabbed himself. Bro's getting done the worst way. This is really how Conquest had Oliver. Sinbad continues to fight even without his sword, which moves Hina to lock in one last time. Sinbad begins distracting the monster like Captain Levi when Drakon comes in and finally decides to fight back against his country, declaring that he's going to spin back and smoke his brother for setting him up, and he's gonna steal his wife. Talk your talk, bro, talk your talk. They continue to stall the beast as Hina charges up the Gale Thunder lightning spear, piercing its core and taking it down. Sensational. Or so I thought, because the witch redirected all the black rook to the leader of the assassins, since his heart was apparently already falling for the evil energy. Sinbad decides to enter his soul, and we see that the boy is having his Scissor 7 alter ego moment, to where he has to come to terms with who he truly is. Sinbad uses talk no jutsu and promises that he will take care of the boy and he will never let anyone cause him any more harm. This time is truly sensational. It seems like young Jafar has joined the party. Drakon, Hina, and the remaining assassins all joined the party too. Well, Drakon is a little bit of a tsundere, so he decided to go home to his country because he wanted to protect his little fine shit. We do find out that he gained the blessings of the king's vessel, which allows one to become a member of Sinbad's household. They continue the ritual as Hina's new name is now Hina Ho Ho. He decides to get married to his childhood sweetheart as they all set out to sea with Sinbad, who now has created a strong relationship with the Inchang tribe. Tell me this isn't how Luffy was moving, bro. Gaining new allies, making friends, adding more territories under his name. Sinbad low-key just a One Piece character. Even these moments where Rurumu is teaching Sinbad and Jafar how to read and write just reminds me of that same silly humor you get from like pre-time skip One Piece. I'm already loving their characters, just a bunch of little cutie patooties. A few nonsensical shenanigans later, and Sinbad and their crew finally arrive in the Rem Empire. They start selling their goods when the taxman pulls up and tells them they can't sell any goods without being authorized by the union. That's when this shady guy walks up to them and says that he's happy to buy all their goods since he's actually part of the union. They agree, but Sinbad is obviously skeptical of what just happened. Later in the night when they're walking through the town, they see their entire setup for sale with 10x the price per item. Yo, he done finessed them.
So 3, 2, 1, and scammer gets scammed, buddy. That's what you get. You're not getting our guns back. No.
Sin ain't even mad though. He told the rest of his people to never hate the player, only hate the game. He sends them back to the village so they can collect more goods, whilst he stays in the town to try and join the union and learn more about trading. He ends up running into the same guy who fleeced him earlier, who tells him he's from Barbat and asks him to teach him the methods. They chop it up for a while, and Sinbad proclaims his dreams of becoming a king, to which Haru is moved. He proceeds to tell him that if Sinbad wants to join the union, he has 1 month to raise 1,000 gold coins, and if he can do that, he will personally write him a letter of recommendation. 1 month goes by and Haru pulls back up to the town when he sees Sinbad telling his story like a theater style play. Haru is impressed by Sinbad's idea, so he decides to give him the 1,000 coins as a token of gratitude. This man's pockets are deep. He basically threw a random kid on the streets like 100k cash. That's when we found out that his true identity is King Rashid, the 22nd king of Barbat. Back when on the ship, we also found out that Rurumu had a baby. Her and Hina must have been cracking every day on that ship, moving like Alan and Telian in Invincible. Some more time passes and the rest of the gang make it back to Rem as they are greeted with Sinbad's assistance. This is the equivalent to checking in with one of your old homies and finding out they actually leveled up in life. Anyhow, Jafar is watching Kikuriku when he wanders off. He tries to look for him just to see he's been captured by King Kong. They really recreated the Harambe plotline because Kikuriku looks like he's enjoying himself. Jafar tries to fight back but is getting the same treatment as Mario when he tried to fight Donkey Kong. Jafar gets a flashback to Sinbad and I really like the character development we are getting from bro. He gets up and gets ready to Zenkai boost when his weapon turns into a household vessel harnessing Baal's lightning powers. He locks in and uses Godspeed to blitz the ape. Sensational. He's not beating the Kido allegations anytime soon though. A child assassin lightning user turned good guy? I'm just saying. Fun fact, in the anime, it literally says that Sinbad wrote an autobiography called The Adventures of Sinbad, which means that we are watching an anime that he himself wrote about his own story glazing himself. There is truly levels to this glazing stuff.
I'm in the Aston doing donuts. I will kill the game.
Oh my god, my boy say he's in the Aston doing donuts!
Sinbad, Hina, and Jafar go on a side quest in an attempt to make it to the kingdom of Sasan so they can establish trade relationships. They instantly get shot down because apparently this country doesn't do trade with outsiders. Sin asks how they can build a friendship when someone directs him to go meet with the Sasan Knights. They give him the cold shoulder, but whilst they were brainstorming a way to gain their trust, the son of the Night King, who is called Mistress, takes an interest in Sinbad because he wants to hear some stories about the outside world. He does his whole song and dance, which leaves Mistress inspired to also explore the world, just like me and Sinbad. He tries telling his brother how he truly feels, but they really have opposing views. Mistress goes back to Sinbad to try and get him to take him with him. Sinbad agrees, but he says he needs to officially leave on his own terms. That's when Sinbad runs into Yunon. Well, runs into is kinda generous. I'm pretty sure Yunon has been following this guy for the entire time, just lurking in the shadows on spectator mode, moving like the Watcher in Marvel What If. He explains to Sinbad that ever since he captured the first dungeon, a bunch more started spawning in, and now a lot more people have captured dungeons, including Drakon's brother father and Mistress's dad, the leader of the Holy Knights. We cut over to Mistress, who's running a gauntlet. He needs to defeat all the knights, including his father, so he can officially be allowed to leave the Night King. You already know what time it is. Let the squabble commence. Mistress instantly uses Link's Flurry Rush to apply that full court pressure. He tries to go again, but Pops uses his Jin's ability to land the nastiest Meliodas full counter, deflecting all his abilities right back at him. Even the pump fake into the fisticuffs did not work. His dad is about to finish him off when Sinbad steps in and showcases his Jin's powers. He challenges him to a battle and tells him that if he wins, he gets to take Mistress and they will be allowed to trade with their kingdom. But if he loses, he's allowed to punish Sinbad however he sees fit. He accepts because he isn't trying to let public disrespect slide. Let the squabble commence. Sinbad goes in for a swift attack before hitting bro with the Avada Kedavra, but Darius is like a combination between Meliodas and Esterosa. He can deflect both physical and magical attacks. Sinbad still managed to block it before clashing and falling back. He says the Night King is pretty decent, but he ain't using his abilities to the fullest, before infusing his weapon with Haki as it slowly transforms his body into Sidon from Breath of the Wild, manifesting part of Baal into his body. This technique is called Jin Equip, and it allows the wielder to draw out even more power of the Jin. Sinbad starts charging another lightning strike out a movement like Prime NL and strikes down on Darius with the Wrath of Odin. This is really how 4 was moving before they made him a fat chud. Sinbad grabs Darius and tells him that he can easily destroy his barrier whenever he feels like, and he took him away from his people so they could talk. Darius is still talking spicy and thinks he still stands a chance just for Sinbad to turn around, chant some Harry Potter nonsense before eviscerating a town-sized hole in the nearest mountain. Oh my goodness. How? When? I blink and this prodigy gained the ability to flatten a country? He just added a goddamn Hadoken to his kit. How did he do that? This is insanity. Sinbad turned into a furry and gained the abilities of Saitama. He proceeds to tell the Night King that he can destroy their country in a matter of seconds, and all he wants is to establish fair trade relations with Zazan. I guess, bro, you got it. Walking Nuke talking about fair trade. Hey, as long as my people are good, you can count me in. He further tells him his goals of wanting to create a worldwide peaceful nation, and even after seeing his power, this guy still doesn't believe him. What is it with anime characters having enhanced ignorance? You can see this guy who has the ability of Radon talking about creating a peaceful world and you don't believe it? Darius tells him about an old Zazan legend which their religion is based on. A god who had insane powers, who protected everyone and created the first utopia. His goal is essentially the same as Sinbad's. This is like Luffy and Joy Boy. Long story short, they are setting this man Sinbad up to be a god of the new world. Bro thinks he's Shinra Kusekabe.
I know exactly what I'm finna do and what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to kill everybody that's hating, and I'm going to have to make a new world.
So after Darius actually thinks about what he just witnessed, they fly back to the castle and he tells his subordinates that Sinbad is officially recognized as an ally of Zazan. We get a nice goodbye between Mistress, his dad and his little bro as he officially joins Sinbad's party. They ready up as they head out to their next location, a female warrior tribe called the Artemira Kingdom. As they get closest to the island, they run into some locals who tell them they probably won't even make it there as the last group got folded. Sinbad and Mistress are mainly just interested in trying to crack, but even Nyash wasn't enough to keep their spirits going as the humidity is draining their stamina. Fast forward some Breath of the Wild fast travel and they make it to the main town. It kind of reminds me of like Amazon Lily in a way. They go to meet with the queen and she basically tells them she ain't interested in talking to men, and the only reason she accepted the meeting is because she wanted to talk to Rurumu, but she couldn't come because she's pregnant again. I know Hina in there going stupid every single night. Sinbad tries to pop his ultimate and goes to seduce her, but she really ain't with all that and threatens to kill bro. She might be related to Esdev. They got like the same energy. They realize they are both king's candidates and Jin wielders, but it doesn't really change anything as they still strip them and go drop them all into the Valley of Doom and Despair, except for Hina, because they are attracted to his body and want to use him to experiment, so to speak.
It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!
This guy's out here hooting and hollering for no reason. Swing the rock if you're not trying to play. My lobster is too buttery and my steak is too juicy, head ass. Sinbad, Mistress and Jafar have been left butt booty naked at the bottom of the valley to try and survive and make their way back up. For the sake of the YouTube policy, I'm going to choose to fast forward their booty adventures. Just know that Jafar and Sinbad almost became full-time nude nomads down there, whilst Mistress was still motivated by nothing but Nyash. They end up finding a bunch of meat, which is left by the people as bait for the birds, so they decide to hide in the meat and ambushed them when they came back to check on their haul. It also makes for this hilarious side plot where they find out that the traditional roles of men and women are completely reversed in this village. I know there's a couple of people in the comments whose goal it is to be house husbands. Sinbad pulls back up on the queen and I think she's low-key feeding him. He steals his metal vessel back and they waste no time, instantly getting to the squabble. They transform using their Jinn equips and it seems like they are both evenly matched, since both Sinbad's and the queen's Jinn are lightning based. Off topic, but these transformation designs are so damn cool, bro. I love seeing unique and innovative anime transformations, and Magi's Jinn equips gotta be top 3 for me personally. Like, let me know in the comments if you agree, because I think this power system has so much potential. Like, it's up there with like Nen and Cursed Energy in the sense of like how much they can do with it. Sinbad, realizing he has no type advantage, says bet and straight up switches Jinn equips, transforming into Kurama's Yoko from Yu Yu Hakusho. When did bro learn this? I feel like I'm missing so much background context, so much lore. The queen goes on the offensive, putting Sinbad on the back foot. He weaves all the hits before sending out some ice blast. The queen just stands there unfazed as she explains that her Jinn is called Cerberus, and because it has 3 heads, it can wield 3 abilities: lightning, ice, and fire. Tell me this ain't tough. She sends a fire blast at him before moving like Fire Lord Ozai and just nukes him. I thought he at least took some damage, but he appears behind her completely unscathed. She says F it and begins charging up that Megumin explosion magic, but once again Sinbad uses slash TP and tells her to stop as that blast would destroy her own country. She continues to swing at him, but she's hitting nothing but air. This is probably how Kefla felt when Goku first went Ultra Instinct. Turns out this Jinn's real ability is to stagnate the opponents and significantly decrease their movement speed as he freezes her, ending the battle. This is truly a 101 on how to make a good power system. Whoever has more ki or bigger muscles shouldn't automatically be the winner. I love the fact that the concept of type matchups matters so much in Magi. The queen was definitely more powerful than Sinbad, like she was 100% stronger, but he outsmarted her with pure battle IQ. Some more time passes and Sinbad goes to meet with the queen once again, but this time she agrees to enter a trade agreement because she said that Sinbad is the first man to bring her to her knees. Hey yo! Sinbad tells her his dream of wanting to make a country free of war, and she begins to talk about the Magi of the Rem Empire who's lived for over 200 years. Hey! Calm down, Bond, calm down. Someone restrain him, yo, someone get him before he does something out of pocket. Phew, that was a close one. This man Bond is always fiending for them underage looking elves. After she begins to explain what a Magi is and how they guide the king's candidates to dungeons, Sinbad realizes that Yunnan is likely also a Magi, a person blessed by the Ruh. Think of Ruh like chakra, haki, nen, and like cursed energy. It's basically the raw source of power, although I would say it's like slightly more complex than the others. Hina Ho Ho also gets taken back to the crew, and they for sure milk this man dry to the bone. Look at him. Anyways, they end up returning to their company, ending the background lore of Sinbad, or you could say the adventures of Sinbad. Alright, my bad. Man, I haven't read the manga yet, but apparently there is like a bunch of material that they skipped or straight up haven't adapted yet, and I just don't know why. Manga is such a beloved IP. I wish someone would just pick it up for a new season. Anyways, that's the end of the video. Make sure you subscribe. I'm trying to hit 300k subscribers, so yeah. YouTube thinks you'll like this video on screen next, so check it out. Peace.